I just wanna ball like the kids do. Yeah, after all that we've been through. Yeah.
Hey, it's the People's Champ, Dame Mosley. Welcome back to the Bucket is a Bucket podcast. The date is the 24th of November. Today we're going to be talking about NBA free agency. We're going to start in the Eastern Conference and focusing on the Atlantic Division for today. I'm going to break them down by division, so it'll just be 5 or 6 teams at a time. That way, if you don't care about the other teams, you can just focus on yours and your division, aka competition. The first team we're going to start off with is the Boston Celtics. They were pretty successful last year. Didn't make it to the chip, but did pretty well otherwise, all things considered. Injuries and that kind of slowed them down towards the end. They lost Brad Wanamaker. He's gone to Golden State. Enes Kanter's gone back to Portland. And Gordon Hayward. They lost Gordon Hayward for nothing. He signed his player option, which was for $34 million, but he resigned with Charlotte, so he's all right. They just lost a bit of depth of the wing, but because since the injury, he's been pretty inconsistent and wasn't really worth the money, to be honest with you, although he was one of their best facilitators and really helped the ball move. Who they did get, they picked up Jeff Teague. He's gonna help back up the point guard position, and if Walker gets injured again, he'll be a good player to hold down the fort until Kemba gets back and just keep the ship moving. They grabbed Tristan Thompson from Cleveland. They signed him to a 3-year deal for $19 million. That's a good deal for them. Shore up some of their front court issues. 10 points, 12 rebounds last year. Championship experience and all that, even though he's getting a little bit old. And the last move was re-signing Jason Tatum to an extension, $195 million, 5 years, if he makes all the bonuses and incentives. Can't go wrong there. He's kind of stepped up as an elite player in the East now, so yeah, it's a good look for them. Next up, the Brooklyn Nets, another contender. A lot of rumors flying around about James Harden, so they haven't lost anybody yet because it's like they're keeping all their players in case they got to make a trade. They have added Jeff Green to back up the forward spots, and Landry Shamet as another shooter, also on a cheapish contract that could be moved. And they re-signed Harris to a 4-year deal for $75 million. Can't really go wrong there. That's kind of the going rate for shooters at the moment. So for today, that's the Brooklyn Nets. But like I said, there's trade rumors with Harden and that floating around pretty hard. So we'll see what happens. Going from contenders to pretenders, we now have the New York Knicks. Last year, the running joke with them was the gluttony of power forwards. Well, this year, they drafted another power forward, just for kicks, it seems. No, I'm just kidding. Obi Toppin's a guy. He's going to be good. They got rid of Mo Harkless, Bobby Portis, Taj Gibson, and Ed Davis. So there's more room for him out there. They've still only got Randall on the books and young Mitchell Robinson. They signed New Orleans Noel, who's like a really poor version of Mitchell Robinson, Austin Rivers, who's just Austin Rivers, and Alec Burks. So yeah, just a couple guards to back up the young boys, Frank Ntilikina, RJ Barrett, Dennis Smith Jr., Alonzo Trier too. I'm assuming he's still in the mix. Still, this is another development year for them. See what they got in those guards there. See if Kevin Knox has developed at all, because he had a bad year last year, or he regressed anyway. So yeah, the rebuild continues, playing for more draft picks. Not much to talk about there, but perhaps a bit more entertaining than last year. Moving on and back to the teams with something to play for, the Philadelphia 76ers. Really regressed as a team last year. It was a new setup with Elton Brand, didn't go well at all. So they got Daryl Morey to be Elton Brand's uncle and give him some guidance. Busy week for them. They got rid of Trey Burke, or I should say they lost Trey Burke and said goodbye to Raul Neto. And they also managed to trade Al Horford, which was probably the biggest deal. They traded Al Horford for Danny Green and Terrence Ferguson and maybe a couple picks with the Oklahoma Thunder. Not even sure if Al got old real quick or it just was really a bad fit, but it definitely wasn't working. So that was a good move for both parties there, I think. They also traded Jason Richardson to Dallas for Seth Curry and a couple picks or second round pick, something of that nature. They basically just added a bunch of shooting, which was what was their success recipe before Elton Brand joined the party. for good measure, they signed Dwight Howard also. With a new coach, a new general manager, and a bunch of new players, obviously it's going to take a while, but we'll see what we got there. And finally, the Toronto Raptors. Toronto Raptors lost Serge Ibaka to the Clippers, and they lost Marc Gasol to the Lakers. Those guys must have been tired of the cold weather. They both headed to Cali. They re-signed Fred VanVleet for 4 years at $85 million. He's become the highest paid undrafted player ever, which is a cool accomplishment to go with a lot of money. They also signed Aaron Baines to 2 years, $14 million. He's going to be, I guess, Marc Gasol's replacement. It's a younger version, basically, and probably a better shooter, to be honest, because Marc Gasol was really inconsistent with the three. But when it was working, it was working. When it wasn't, it's just kind of a waste of space. They re-signed Chris Boucher, so I guess he'll be the new Ibaka, if you will. The good thing about that team, they like to do a lot of internal development, so hopefully he'll come back a bit better. And obviously he's a lot cheaper. And that's it for the Atlantic Division, man. 4 contenders, 1 pretender. A lot of minor moves, just tweaking, replacing older guys with younger guys. It's definitely going to be a competitive year in the Atlantic. We're looking forward to seeing how it goes. We've also got the Harden trade looming, possibly for Philadelphia and Brooklyn. So that's just another wrinkle to add in there. Thanks for listening. I'm going to follow up with the Central Division next. Keep it baller.
I just wanna ball like the kids do, yeah. After all